Hello to our audience again, Smme Clinic, and a very interesting session that we have the privilege of interviewing Monica Molise from Thriving Dirang. And Monica actually came to us around a conversation around demystifying BE versus Black owned. And that sounds a little bit interesting in terms of why the difference, but what we've seen is that a lot of companies don't realize the kind of benefits during COVID-19 they can access. And Monica, thank you for taking the time, a very experienced BE professional. And I think the nuggets that you're going to share with our businesses today are going to be highly valuable. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Debbie.
So Monica, I've done a very brief introduction from yourself and the company. We could get straight into the discussion, but maybe tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Sure. I'm Monica Molise. I have been consulting in BE, compliance, transformation, localization for over 12 years now. I am currently on the board of the Association of the BE Professionals, which is the only professional body in the BE industry. I am also a board member on their Tech Foundation. And I am currently the CEO of Thriving Dirang, which is a BE consulting agency.
Is that all? Where do you find the time? And she's still giving us this time now. Monica, please demystify this for us. I think, it was very controversial when there was a leaked session or document, sorry, not session, around who could access funding and who couldn't. And I think that's, there's not a lot of clarity. So, how can we help small business at this time?
At this time, what everyone needs to know is that there is a difference between being Black owned and being BE compliant. Being BE compliant means that you are a company who is interested in being part of the South African solution. So whether you are a local entity or a multinational, it is important that you participate in the principles that would lead us to inclusive economic growth. So that's a deep, roundabout way of basically saying that if you look at the codes, they include 5 elements, of which ownership, which is Black ownership, is one. Management control is based on the demographics of the country, meaning that every single company must have a representation of each race as it is in our country. Skills development is also just looking at your training of your employees as well as the community at large. The percentages that are set out there as well are based on the demographics of the country. So there really isn't, being Black equating to BEE. That is absolutely not the case. You can achieve a level 1 by simply complying with each one of the elements that are set out in the legislation, including, of course, Black ownership is there. It is a priority element. However, it has a minimum requirement of 25% plus 1 vote or 30% in some sector codes, which clearly shows you that we are considering every single company in this country. We expect every single company to participate. And in 2020, I think this is one of the last conversations we expected to have as to what the public considers BE to be, and it seems to be a huge misunderstanding that we need to just clarify.
And looking at those two differences, looking at the kind of relief measures that and programs and options to help small business at this stage. So where is it really focused on Black owned businesses, if at all, versus compliant, BE level compliant 1 to 3 or whatever the case may be? What should small business be knowing right now?
So every small business should know that you have enterprise and supplier development, which is really an element where we focus on procurement, supplier development, and enterprise development, where it's important as to what percentage of Black shareholding you have is in one of the sub-pillars under enterprise and supplier development, meaning that we calculate what companies are actually compliant first and foremost. The percentage of your expenditure in an annual period that you're spending on BE compliant companies counts. So whatever level you achieve, your certificate matters in that category. Then we look at how small the businesses are. So we separate it between companies that are QSEs, meaning that their turnover is then below 50 million, or the ones that are EMEs whose turnover is under 10 million. In the tourism sector, that's 5 million, and they qualify as EME. And then you have the Black women ownership percentage, that's 30% that are 4G points, as well as the Black ownership then that is 50% that are 4G 12 points. Apologies, 9 points.
Yes.
So in that case, you basically have a lot of room around compliance. Everyone is included and everyone counts. It's really just a matter of what level you achieve and how you contribute towards your own customers' compliance.
Monica, what's your advice to small businesses that were on the journey of compliance? They might not, they were targeting a particular BE level. Now with COVID-19, the chances are, would they still be targeting? Do they see it as a cost versus survival mode? What is your advice?
My advice to small businesses, figure out first which classification you fall under. I think there is a lot of misconception around that first and foremost. If you are an EME and you have no Black ownership at all, you are automatically a level 4. All you need to do is obtain an affidavit that is issued by the CIPC. I can share that with you, Debbie, to share with your listeners. And everyone really can participate. You literally have to go and prove or just acknowledge that your annual turnover of the last financial period was below 10 million, declare it, have it commissioned, and that is your BE certificate. There is no cost to that. And that's very important for SMEs to understand. And for QSEs who are between the 10 million and 50 million mark, to also understand is that the QSE scorecard is relatively easier, if I may. It has lower targets than the large companies would experience. So what you need to then identify there is make sure that you fall in the right category first and foremost, and what the elements are that are priority in your particular classification, what level you can actually achieve, and what the process is to achieving that level. It really isn't that complicated. It is that easy. With a good consultant, of which there are many of us at the moment, it's very hard not to know a PE consultant. You can really achieve the objectives that you want to achieve within your business. One of the other things that I will always say to SMEs, because of the budget constraints, because of the difficulty of growing in this economy, is that you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategic BE plan that talks to your business plan. Include BE principles as part of your business operandi or modus operandi, part of your normal day-to-day running of your business. So, when you do that, it doesn't become a tick box exercise. It's practice. It's normal. Every time you buy an item, you consider whether you're buying from a BE compliant company, because it contributes towards your compliance. Every time you employ individuals, you look at your vacancy, you look at the qualifications that you're looking for, you consider the demographics in your company. Is it reflective of the way that South Africa's demographics are today? And how do we move towards changing that? And you will see with BE, it all then talks back to what the plans are with the employment equity, how are we addressing our compliance according to the Employment Equity Act, similarly with the Skills Development Act as well. So it all talks to each other. It shouldn't really be a grudge purchase and something that is done as an afterthought to tick boxes, because then you will always chase your tail. You will always find yourself behind. But if you do it on a regular basis, very easy to achieve a level 1.
Then it's always, obviously our area is not the broad scorecard, but very much on the enterprise supply development. And when it is not part of the business process, you do see a lot of last minute spend that is almost wasteful expenditure because it hasn't been thought out. It's how can I get my quick points? And then it's a grudge purchase, even though it's not a purchase, right. And it goes against the intent of really supporting transformation in your supply chain with your smaller businesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, I have seen a couple of articles. Any things for businesses to know right now around COVID-19, delaying audit periods? Is there some grace period? Anything official on that?
Nothing official yet. We really haven't heard anything around whether, compliance affects your application or not. That is not the case at the moment. I don't know that has been set out as a requirement as far as the applications are concerned. Maybe the delay is around it. We assume that it's because of the backlog, and everyone obviously working remotely as well. And what I will also advise companies that are applying for COVID TERS or SME relief funding, to just ensure that they follow the requirements. Understand the documents that are required, understand the procedure that is required of you as well in terms of how you apply, do you qualify, and the information that you're basically submitting to make sure that your application is successful. So yeah.
I think that's great advice. Doesn't help that there's clarification on these schemes every day, so it's definitely a bit of a moving target. But the good news is, personally, I've seen quite a few companies. The good news is that I know quite a few companies that have really benefited from TERS, so shout out to UIF for really getting that happening. I think it's given them a breather. And Monica, thank you so much for taking the time. As I said, you're exceptionally busy and trying to do audits remotely as well. And thank you for clarifying. I think very important to really think around BE compliance and Black owned, and not to think that you have to be one or the other to benefit or not benefit from the support at this time. Any last passing words to our audience?
I think that you look for Black-owned businesses. I don't think I touched on that. You need to know that if you're 100% Black-owned company and your turnover is under 50 million, you automatically are level 1, and you follow the same process of getting an affidavit. And the same applies to Black-owned companies that have 51% Black ownership. They qualify as well for a level 2 automatically and can get an affidavit to prove that. So, that is one way of looking at it. One of the other things that I will say is that, at Thriving Dirang, we thrive in ensuring that our clients achieve not only compliance, but actually see the benefit of participating in this legislation, and that it talks to your business strategy. I mean, that is important. You can't just spend money on transactions and give away funds without understanding how it all goes back to you as a company. And it's individual, it's based on budgets, your compliance, you have targets that are based on your payroll in terms of skills, and your net profit after tax in terms of enterprise supply development. So it's not blanket giving away money. It is a strategic plan that you need to have in place, that you need to act on every single day on a regular basis. It becomes like just another item on running your business.
Exactly. Agree 300%. Thank you, Monica. Really appreciate the time. All the best. Stay safe, stay healthy. And to our audience, there'll be details below again. Any questions, feel free to contact Monica and the team directly. They really know their stuff, so any questions, they are there to help. So yeah, all the best, and see you guys soon. Cheers, Monica.
Thanks, Debbie. Thanks a lot. You too. Bye.